is if this section here, I'm going to stand up so you can see me. This section right here can be a fully masked section for folks who would feel most comfortable. Yeah, I know we're shifting just to be able to. So forgive me for people if there are people who would want to be in a really like mask only space. I know this will take a little bit of reshifting. We're going to ask this space so that way we can keep adding chairs if there's more. So just mask exclusive here and mask however you're feeling most comfortable here. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Just like my mom. Happy Hanukkah. Meg.
Your handheld mic just for the introduction and then get back to you.
Yeah, is that okay?
Thank you.
We brought books. There they are. It's. I'll give you that. We'll do. That's it. To what? I wrote them down today.
On the right. They'll be on the other side.
And then we like cascade it. Yeah, thank you.
As you're coming in, I'm going to invite you to please fill in chairs. If there are chairs next to you that are empty, you can raise your hands. There's a whole stripe of chairs behind me that are empty. And the good news about these chairs, I don't know if this is incentive or not. If you sit here, I'm more likely to hold your hand or whisper Shabbat secrets. So come on over. Yeah. Shabbat Shalom. I'm going to invite us. This is incredible. Let's just take a moment and look around and greet each other. How wonderful. If there are open chairs that you're sitting near, please raise your hand so people can find chairs. There are 15 chairs up in the balcony if anyone feels like having a bird's eye view. There are also infinity seats on the bima if anyone feels like sitting on the ground. That'll be the best way to see the Hanukkah candles. And we're just going to keep welcoming each other in. Good Shabbos. Hemadeta leharerios, leharerios.
Welcome. Welcome to those joining us online and in person in our physical space. Welcome into Shabbos, into the second night of Hanukkah, and welcome into Rabbi Ariel Lekach Rosenberg's installation as the lead rabbi. And welcome to you, Abe, and your family, as you become a bar mitzvah. I'm Rabbi Sharon Stiefel. I have gray hair and light skin. I'm wearing a kippah and glasses, and I'm standing in Shir Tikva's sweet sanctuary. I'm grateful to be here with community prayer leaders Julie, Sam, Kestrel, MJ, Riv, who are all leading the Shabbat and Hanukkah service. I eagerly look forward to our esteemed guests, Judith Plasko and Martha Ackelsberg, blessing Rabbi Ariel as she is installed as Shir Tikva's lead rabbi.
My name is Rabbi Joey Glick. I have long curly hair. Basically, I look more or less like our lead rabbi. As we move into prayer tonight, we acknowledge the land we stand on. We pray on unceded Dakota land tonight. We also honor the elders of this community from the founding generation who saw room for a song-filled, radically welcoming synagogue to the decades of love and sweat that have gone into building and maintaining Shir Tikva as a holy place. We also want to honor Rabbi Ariel, your family and ancestors, the generations of healers and artists and beloveds that are physically and virtually and spiritually with us today. Before candlelighting, Rabbi Stiefel and I, who have the total pleasure of getting to work alongside Rabbi Ariel, want to share moments that have brought light to our own life and the life of this community.
Rabbi Ariel, we have worked together for almost 2 years, and it has been wonderful. Whatever I may be feeling going into a meeting with you, I always leave feeling energized when we are done. You have a gift for sharing your wisdom and knowledge without making anyone feel they are inferior or inadequate. I'm able to serve Shir Tikva as the pastoral care rabbi because you honor me in my role. And you know the importance of collegiality and make our rabbinic team, Rabbi Joey, you and myself, an amazing well of support.
Rabbi Ariel, tonight I'm remembering the guidance you gave to me moments before the first time we led together. Joey, you said, be yourself. Be proudly and fully yourself in front of this community. We need you, not you trying to squish or squeeze yourself into what you think this community might need. I have seen you model this wisdom, this version of the rabbinate and life, and in so doing, welcome so many others to live their fullest truth. May we as a staff and as a community give you the support that you've given us, the light to lead and live with authenticity and joy. Get used to it. There's many other good things. The advice I've heard you give to many Bar Mitzvah students, just let the loves keep on washing over you tonight. On top of the installation, we of course have the Bar Mitzvah of our beloved Abe Ziss. Abe, in a moment, I'll welcome you and your immediate family up to the bima to light candles. And with that, your Bar Mitzvah journey officially begins. Abe, I want you and your family to take this moment to take a big breath in and out. And remember what it feels like to be right here, right now, surrounded by your community and your family. You are deeply loved, and we can't wait for you to lead us together tomorrow. Okay, let's see if we can navigate our way up to the bima.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu להדליק נר של חנוכה. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'asa nisim לאבותינו חייבים ההם בזמן הזה. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu להדליק נר Shabbat Shalom. Hanukkah Alegre. Happy Hanukkah.
We'll move into song together. You can find the words on page 12, number 3 online as we move our way into Kabbalat Shabbat, page 12.
לכו נרננה Karma Fana Betoda Bismirot Naria Lechuneranena Ladonai Naria Ritzu Yisheinu Nikarim Afanav Betoda Bizmirot Nari Aloi Alai
We turn together to the next page, 13.
Shiru l'Adonai, shir chadash, shiru l'Adonai, kol haaretz. Shiru l'Adonai, barechu shemo, basiru miyom leyom, Yeshuato. Sabru
We'll join up together the last verse on page 14. Turning to number 3 on your not so colorful white sheets tonight. Number 3, as we call out for strength, any of the strength that we need to move into Shabbos together today.
Anna bechoach gedulat yemnincha tatir zerura kabel rinat amcha sagbenu tahareinu Anna bechoach gedulat yemnincha tatir zerura kabel rinat חסגנו, טהרנו, נורא.
We turn to page 20, number 7 online, opening up our hearts and greeting whatever presence we need this Shabbos with the words of L'cha Dodi. It's the tradition in this community to burst open our doors and spin outside and dance. So you're welcome in our physical space or in your virtual space to find yourself outdoors during the last verse.
לשם ותפארת וליתי
Boi v'shalom, ateret bala, gam besimcha uvetzola, toch emune am segula, boi chala, lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela, lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Ay alay, 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 ay alay, alay, ay ay alay, alay, ay, ya la la, ay, la la, lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela, lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Ay alay, 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 ay alay, ay, 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 alalay, alalay, ay, ay alay, ay, alalay, ay, 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 alalalay, ay alay, 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 ay alay, ay, 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 alalay, alalay, ay, ay alay, ay, alalay, ay, 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 alalalay, lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela, lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela.
Shabbat Shalom. You may be seated. So, because of the possible length of our service, and because we have an oneg after, we are not going to break out in groups. We will greet each other afterwards. We will continue with our service. But I'm just going to, I don't know if you've been feeling this, but for me, getting to look around and see so many smiling eyes and faces, this is the sweetness of our circle. You don't just get to see my smiling face, you get to see each other. So let's just take a moment. We're not going to break out on Zoom. You get to see each other's faces close up, but let's just take a moment and beam our love to each other. And then I'm going to invite us, please, to rise in body and spirit as Abe calls us to prayer with Baruch Hu on page 28. Oh my gosh, Hillel. Page 28. 28. Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la 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 la,
Barechu et Adonai HaMevorah.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed, le'olam va'ed.
Folks should stay standing in body or spirit for the Shema on page 34, number 9 and 10 online. Will be led again by Abe.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed.
You can be seated as we turn to the next page over.
Asher Anochi Mitzavecha
Hayom Alavavecha
V'shimatam Levanecha Uvlechtecha v'derech Uvshofecha uvkumecha Ukshatam leod Decha V'hayu letotafot v'neinecha Uchtabtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha V'ma'an tizkeru v'asitem et mitzvotai v'yitem kedoshim lelohechem Ani Adonai Elohechem Asher hoseti etchem be'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem Elohim Ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem Amen. We'll continue together on page 40.
Hashkivenu is a prayer I have read, sung, chanted, or passed over many times. But now I'm struck by the third phrase, which reads, Ufros alenu sukat shlomecha, often translated, spread over us your canopy of peace, or alternatively, spread over us your tabernacle of peace. The literal translation, of course, is spread over us the sukkah of your peace. And sukkah, that's not a translation, it's just the word, but all right. Sukkah has a very different feel to it than canopy or tabernacle. Sukkah, as I learned the first few times I built one in my backyard in Northampton, Massachusetts, is a very fragile structure. It can literally be blown over by the wind, and not necessarily even by a very strong gust. The line about the sukkah of peace is repeated at the very end of the prayer, just before the final bracha. Sorry about my back being to some of you, I don't know how this works. Just before the final bracha, which again speaks of the sukkah of shalom, hapores sukkat shalom aleinu, who spreads the sukkah of peace over us. These days, we hardly need reminders of impermanence, of how fragile peace can be, of how there are no guarantees of serenity or security, not just in the Middle East, but also in our own country, on our campuses, perhaps even in our own families. Fragility is what we're living. Hashkivenu names it, and the fear that accompanies it in the very words that plead for protection. Maybe it's only by truly recognizing the fragility of the sukkah in which we are living that we can find the strength to work to erect and maintain sukkot of peace for all those who need protection, not just in Israel and Jerusalem, but in Gaza, Minneapolis, New York City, and beyond. It's a long-term vision, but I love Yehuda Amichai's image that I want to pass on to you. Don't stop after beating the swords into plowshares. Don't stop. Go on beating and make musical instruments out of them. Whoever wants to make war again will have to turn them into plowshares first.
We'll sing our way into those words 3 lines down on page 42, number 13 online. We rise together on page 4414 online. We'll stay on our physical or spiritual feet as we move into the Amidah on page 46, number 15 online. We'll begin by singing together before we go into quiet. I invite us as we pay attention to our breath in the quiet time, as we breathe in, to breathe in gratitude and love for our new lead rabbi, and to breathe out strength and admiration for our Bar Mitzvah kid. We begin together on page 46. in a moment, we'll pray for healing of body and spirit of folks in our lives and in our community. Myself and Rabbi Stiefel are going to look around the room, Rabbi Stiefel on this side and me over here. As our eyes pass you, feel free to call out the names of anyone in your life or your family that you're praying for at this moment. Today we're praying for. We'll sing together the words El Na Rafanallah. Martha, Judith, let the installation begin.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Shabbat Shalom. We now come to the special installation portion of the service. We are imagining this actually as a ceremony of commitment between you, the congregation, and Rabbi Ariel. We are here as facilitators and as joyful witnesses. We begin by asking Rabbi Ariel to speak briefly about the rabbinic journey that brought her to Shir Tikva.
Perfect timing always. So when Martha and Judith asked me to open this portal of installation with a reflection on my journey to the rabbinate, I think they asked me while I was doing something very much like this. And I thought, oof, I can't wait for 15 years when I can return to this question and dig in the depth and the complexity that I can't. But I just want to say thank you to both of you for being joyful witnesses and companions and for opening this space and holding this space with us. So it was not long After coming to some clarity, I'm dropping us into the middle of the story. It's a long story. It was not long after coming to some clarity about wanting to become a rabbi that I moved to La Esperanza, Honduras, and I joined an organization called COPIN, el Consejo Cívico de Organizaciones Populares y Indígenas de Honduras, the Civic Council of Organizations, popular organizations of indigenous people of Honduras, which was the place that I felt I was going to be able to learn towards becoming a rabbi. American Jewish World Service had been supporting COPIN and connected me with them, and I recognized in the work that COPIN does a sibling of the work that I wanted to do as a rabbi. COPIN sprang from and is grounded in the Lenca community, the largest indigenous group in Honduras, a group that during the conquest of the Spaniards in the 1500s and in the years since has lost its language, lost the fabric of its customs, but this community maintains a deep pride in their heritage of struggle, in their meaning as a people. And I thought, I recognize this. Copinistas were engaged and are engaged on a daily basis in defining their community by connecting present day with a history that had ruptured since the conquest of the Americas. And they created alliances with churches preaching liberation theology, with feminist and student groups, with other indigenous groups engaged in similar struggles. And I saw in COPIN what I had dreamed of finding in my Jewish community. I saw a community understanding that their own communal identity was not isolated, but was a springboard towards working in collaboration with others. I saw a people committed to breathing new life into their inheritance, to turning and returning to the heart of their people to meet the needs of their moment. And this work is dangerous. This work of resistance is dangerous. My teacher and co-founder of COPIN, Berta Cáceres, was murdered in 2016 because of her resistance. And this work is transformative. I was transformed by learning with COPIN, agitated into my own years of activism, and compelled into a recognition that my destiny is bound up with others, those I know, and those whose movements and urges are unknown to me, but no less important. I also spent time in Honduras reading Buber and Zornberg, relearning the Hebrew alphabet, and researching rabbinical schools in internet cafes, if you remember what those are. After a year of learning, I returned to the United States thinking that I would enroll quickly in rabbinical school, and instead, I spent years in Seattle organizing and integrating the learning and agitation of my time in Honduras. Weekly organizing meetings took the place of weekly Shabbat observance. I busked with an accordion in Pike Place Market. I slung books at Left Bank Collective Bookstore. I threw my lot in with an amazing community of workers and immigrants pushing for dignity and justice in their work. And only in 2010, which seems like yesterday, but was not, after SB 1070, which was a virulent anti-immigrant bill, I don't know if you remember, was passed in Arizona, that was the moment when I enrolled in school. Where were the Jews? I wanted to know. Where was the resistance grounded in our history and our sense of interconnection? And with that sense of not happy wondering, I went to rabbinical school, determined to claim the tools and languages of our tradition and to offer them back to the movement. Yeah, this is gonna be fun. Hang on, pause. Yeah, aren't you glad I jumped in the middle? So in school, I found prayer. Thank you. I'm so grateful. Bye, Rafi. I found prayer and the thick weave of song of our people. And it took me 3 years in rabbinical school, where lucky rabbinical school is long, to decide to stay in rabbinical school. And I only decided to stay because I fell so in love with the impossible work of communal service, the strange and perfect tangle of how we persist as a people in this moment. So to seal this reflection, I returned to the essay. I can't believe I could find it. I'd returned to the essay I wrote when I was applying to rabbinical school. Sharon, I know. And I wanted to invite that Ariel, the Ariel of 2010, who wrote an almost unintelligible essay, but we're not going to talk about that. These were the last paragraphs. My challenge as a rabbi is to frame the conception of communal practice as one that would enable the same community that comes together once a year to daven Ashamnu, taking into our breasts the sins of the congregation with openness and awe, to devote all the other days of the year to supporting our fellows in tikkun olam and righteous living. I come to this application for rabbinical school, cute, not fully formed, true, but equipped with a structure of practice that continues to push me in the direction. I know that I will be forced to compensate for my ignorance and inexperience as I take the leap of faith between recognition and knowledge, between desire and daily practice. I believe that the path to the rabbinate is not a linear one. True. That I will forever move between desire and fluency and back to desire, cycling deeper into knowledge and practice. My challenge is to endeavor to discover a buoyancy through this experience that will allow me to serve as facilitator of experience for my community, even as the pieces of the world fall together and fall apart. So I am so grateful to have found my way to this community with its righteous, joyful song, with its humility and generosity and effervescent love. Thank you.
Rabbi Aryeh, when you first asked us for a brief description of this installation Shabbat, we came up with the following language. How do we engage as leaders and congregants with a rich and complicated tradition in this difficult historical and political moment? You weren't sure the word difficult was appropriate to a celebration, and you asked if we could suggest a different word. When I said, what about horrendous? You settled for difficult. Now, of course, we had no inkling. I can't remember what was happening at that time, but we had no inkling then of how prescient we were. We could not have imagined how incredibly difficult and painful this moment would be as we tried to cope with our feelings about the Hamas attack of October 7th and Israel's violent response. So many of us are struggling to find our way amidst the polarized voices in our own society, asking how we understand ourselves as Jews, how we relate to Israel, and what values we are unwilling to relinquish as central to our tradition.
Your choice to do this ritual on Hanukkah adds another very different layer of complexity to this occasion. Hanukkah celebrates the rededication of the temple after a military victory. The victory of fundamentalist, fanatic Hasmoneans over supposedly assimilated Jews like us. The rabbis of the Talmud were already uncomfortable with the story of armed revolt, and they shifted the center of the narrative to the miracle of the oil. Hanukkah thus has become a holiday on which we seek to hold on to, celebrate, and grow the light at the moment of greatest darkness. Surely that's a lesson we need at this moment, yet one that lives in tension with the military aspect of the story. Moreover, any transition such as this one poses its own challenges. It marks an important new phase of development for you and for the congregation. But in no community does everyone imagine new beginnings in the same way. As Abby and Ben said so beautifully on Kol Nidre, people join Shir Tikva for a variety of different reasons. In a sense, there are many Shir Tikvas, meeting a great variety of individual and congregational needs. Also, even in progressive communities, there are many shades of difference in response to people's responses. Shades of difference in people's responses to the crisis in the Middle East. Differences which can loom very large, even if they may be relatively small on the total Jewish spectrum.
Fortunately, Rabbi Ariel, you are a rabbi who was made for this difficult moment. We first came to know you when you were a rabbinic intern at B'nai Jeshurun in New York City during a period of terrible police violence against young black men. We were deeply impressed by your spiritual insights, your incredible voice, what a pleasure to hear it again tonight, your passionate commitment to social justice, and your ability to bring together all these gifts. You spoke and sang from the Bima in ways that acknowledged the pain in the larger world and integrated it seamlessly with prayer and Torah. In the years since, when we've had the pleasure of studying each week's Torah portion with you and Noam, we have repeatedly been awed by the breadth and depth of your wisdom. We were struck in our recent conversations with Ben and Abby that they described your presence on the Bima in ways that echo our own experience. You don't perform. You create a holy space. You bring together a demand for social justice with a reverence for prayer and prayer life, so that congregants for whom prayer was previously perfunctory suddenly realized that it actually means something.
It's clear that this congregation recognizes your gifts. That's why they have chosen you to be their lead rabbi. Tonight, you are being invited to step into the fullness of your power, to be the leader of this community. Not in the sense of telling it what to do, but in working with, God forbid, right? but in working with it to create the conditions for both you and others to take on the leadership that the community needs. Never feel or fear that taking your power has to mean depriving others of theirs. On the contrary, it can be an important way to create a sense of safety for the congregation, to hold the space for the congregants to take on and claim their own power. Taking power is not easy for women, especially not for young women. But the congregation is saying to you, we're with you, we trust you, we value you, we have your back. You don't need to prove yourself. Tell us what you want and need. We want to remind you that more than 50 years into the feminist revolution in Judaism and 40 years into the queer revolution, you have resources, models, and fellow travelers for doing the work needed at this moment. Your teachers, friends, and colleagues from Hebrew College, our Chavruta, and your own study of traditional texts from feminist and queer perspectives, your many clergy colleagues from this larger community, your longtime engagement in struggles for economic, racial, gender, and disability justice, both before you came to Minneapolis, as you've just mentioned, and here. You have your parents, of course, and Noam, providing crucial ongoing support. And you have the multitude of prophetic voices, canonical and non-canonical, that have arisen in our tradition over time. As Jews for Racial and Economic Justice in New York put it, Jews have been fighting pharaohs for over 3,000 years. You have always been part of that struggle, but you're taking on a new form of leadership in this moment.
Remember that taking your power also means taking the power to say no, to set boundaries. Together with the congregation, you need to create the conditions necessary for you to be able to live the life of a whole, healthy human being. You're doing that, particularly as a young woman with a family, will be an important model for others. Creating boundaries isn't just about saying no to things that you don't want or need to do, though that is an important part of the discernment process. It also means, at least sometimes, saying no to things that you genuinely want to do, but that you can't do right now. Part of what the congregation is saying in making this commitment to you is that they want you to stay, that you have time. You don't need to do everything right now, or in the next year, or in the next 2 years. And your no's can make space for others to run with the great ideas that you'd love to take up, but just don't have the bandwidth for. Ariel, we know you will continue to bring your light to Shir Tikva, and that just as the light of the Hanukkah candles intensifies each night, your light will grow over the years through both difficult and, let's hope, not so difficult times. This is the moment when you take on the mantle of leadership and the congregation enters into a new relationship with you. Mazel tov, we love you, and we look forward to witnessing the unfolding of this new phase in all your lives. And now we invite Rabbi Offner to give you a blessing. I'm not sure how that's supposed to happen, but I suppose you know.
I think we're going to hear her from the sky. I believe in the coming of Rabbi Offner.
Even though she tarries.
Even though she may tarry, I know it's not her fault. Oh, hold on. I have a picture of Rabbi Offner. Figuring out the text. Well, we're just going to look at her and wave meanwhile.
She's calling.
It'll come over the speakers in a moment.
You know what? Speaking of those founding days, Rabbi Ariel, on this day of your installation as lead rabbi of Shir Tikva, may you be blessed with our history, with the history of our ancestors and of our people, but also the history of our Shir Tikva founders. Because they had a vision of Jewish life back in 1988 that would be more inclusive and more meaningful and more just. A Judaism where we would walk the walk and not just talk the talk. A Jewish life that would be filled with song and filled with hope. And I want to bless you with their determination partners in all endeavors. So may you be blessed as I was blessed, with a congregation that shares both the burdens and the joys of partnership, of listening carefully to each other and being present for each other. Those founders had the courage to take great risks. They gave up the security of the familiar to reach their dreams. I want to bless you with the self-same courage. Courage to speak your mind even when unpopular. Courage to challenge even as you affirm others. I want to bless you with a favorite pronoun of mine. We're all so appreciative of the way Shiatika has changed and grown and met the moment and has embraced the more meaningful use of pronouns that we have these days. She and her, and he and him, and they and them. While honoring all those pronouns, I want you to know that my favorite pronoun is we. In that spirit, even those founders are us. They're a part of you, and they're a part of us. As Shiatika grows and changes, may we never lose our moorings, our center. And you, Rabbi Ariel, bless us with your center. May you be blessed with courage and strength as this crazy, wonderful, spirited, joyful, demanding, singing, loving congregation holds on to you as it searches again and again for its own center. I thank God for placing you at the lead of this wonderful congregation and its growing clergy and staff team. You, Rabbi Ariel, you enrich us, you teach us, you lift us up. And you have been blessed with an installation during the holiday of Hanukkah. Hanukkah, which awes us with the power of light. And today we are awed by the power of your light. Remember, even when you are tired and weary and you don't feel like you are emanating light, you are. Because even the tiniest flicker of light breaks through the darkness. God bless you, Rabbi, for bringing so much light into these dark times. And so we bless you too with ancient words. May they be forever new and renewed in your life. Yivarecha Adonai v'yishmarecha, may God bless you and watch over you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yinecha, may God's light shine through you and comfort us. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom, may your light, Rabbi Ariel, allow each of us together, all of us together, to know peace. Can you hear that song?
Can you hear our song?
Okay. So now we're going to ask Ben and Abby to say some things on behalf of the congregation.
All right, and I would love to actually welcome all board members. We're going to do this later, but logistically this may be easier. If you could just come up and be on the bima behind, that would be great. Thank you. If you're here as a board member, please come on up. Wow. Hi, everyone. I'm Ben Goldfarb. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm a tall, light-skinned person, and I am the president of the Shiatika Board of Trustees.
Hi, I'm Abby Shane. I use she, her pronouns, and I have big, dark, wavy hair, glasses, and a 2-month-old baby who's currently in the Oneg Hall, and I'm the vice president of the Board of Trustees.
And I am honored to be here tonight to support Rabbi Ariel's leadership at Shir Tikva. This is a big moment for us, celebrating our third lead rabbi in this, our 36th or double chai year as a Kehila Kadosha, a holy community. On behalf of the Shir Tikva Board of Trustees, those of you who are here and on Zoom, we want to offer you a gift that is both real and also symbolic. We have chosen for you a netilat yarayim, the traditional vessel that our people use for ritual hand washing. It's a vessel with two handles. One handle is intended to symbolize your spiritual leadership at Shir Tikva, and yes, you can open it. I hope there are two handles, because we're talking about two handles. Yeah. I saw it, there's two handles. The other handle is to signify the board's ongoing partnership with you in shaping the future of this community.
Netilat Yadayim translates literally to taking up of hands. There are many traditions in our lineage about how and when to wash our hands. In preparing for this offering, I read about passing the vessel and the water from hand to hand, back and forth, sometimes once, twice, 3 times, sometimes starting with the left, others the right, all depending the time of day, what is preceding or following, which lineages we're taking up in our practice. At Shir Tikva, sometimes we give care and sometimes we receive it. Sometimes we open the doors to the Shabbat bride, and sometimes we're at the back in passing the water and the vessel with 2 handles back and forth. We aspire to a practice of reflexive, creative leadership wrapped in tradition.
When you hold this sacred vessel, please know that we're holding it with you.
Okay, now comes the moment of commitment between the congregation and Rabbi Ariel. The vows you'll be reading together, which I think you have on your sheet, right, came out of conversations between us and Ben and Abby, representing the board, and aim to reflect the commitments you are making to one another. To make this a connecting moment, we are going to ask you, it's going to be a little difficult, but I think we can manage, to all gather around. You're sort of gathered around already, but we want to gather more closely, if possible, with the board members in the center and everyone else around for a laying on of hands, with each one touching someone who is touching Rabbi Ariel. You'll all read the vows, and we'll say together a bracha written for the occasion, and then we'll sing Ha'emarata, creating a mountain of sound to envelop us all. And I will say about the Ha'emarata, we'd like to do it a little faster than we did it at the beginning, and it's potentially an 8-part round. After every 2 beats comes in again. So we'll see if we can do it, and if not, it worked pretty well the first time round, and it'll be amazing when we're all here. So. Oh, yeah.
And can I have the paper? All right. We are so excited to enter into this new phase of our relationship with you, to open ourselves to your Torah and to wrestle creatively with Torah along with you. We hope to co-create a community in which we can all celebrate, grieve, study, sing, pray, and fortify ourselves for the work we do in the world.
I marvel at the many hands and hearts who have shaped this community. Your names are stitched behind Torah covers. Your baby faces are on the walls. You have swept this sanctuary and pulled weeds in the garden and taught classes and welcomed new members and shuffled and reshuffled this space. May my heart's offering to this community, my rabbinic service, do honor to those who have made this community Shir Tikva. I join my heart's labor with yours and dedicate it to those yet to come.
We know that we are many and that we do not and will not always agree. We pledge to you and to one another that we will listen to each other and to you with generosity and respect even as we look to you to hold the space for us to do so.
Let us turn towards each other and recognize each other with compassion and respect. May we turn this into a practice, extending love and dignity, the possibility of more safety, more care, more song, more love. I commit to showing up with curiosity and humility, and even when it's a struggle, to stay present and engaged with you.
Want you to be here with us for a long time and to continue to grow, knowing that you don't need to compromise who you are. We are eager for you to step fully into your own power and lead us, recognizing that you have the full support of the congregation. We have your back.
Wow. You have welcomed me as your rabbi when I've come with the best of my offerings, and when I've needed to learn clumsily and in public. You have welcomed me as a rabbi
and an active parent,
as an activist, and as a frequent public crier. You have taught me that generous love is a renewable resource. It is. I commit to the fullness and complexity of our community, to not flattening our community into fixed ideas of what should be, to guiding and finding our way into what is already becoming.
We want to make this a community that welcomes your children and all children. We want you to have the time and space to nurture your relationship with Noam, who we know is a crucial partner with you and with us. His presence and support allow you to be the person and the rabbi who you are and who we need, and we will do our best to remain mindful of that.
Dear ones, we have lived through full and challenging years. We are living through a thickness and complexity of suffering and challenge that for many of us is unprecedented. I commit to drawing joy and insight from the wellspring of our tradition, to fostering an environment of trust and care between us, to meeting the needs of our moment with full heart and the fullness of my being. Where Shekhinah can dwell. Oh. Adeta leharerios, leharerios, hem adeta leharerios, leharerios, lehem adeta.
Thank you. This has been a lot in all of the best ways. We'll begin to put a seal on our service with the words of the Hashavota. You can find them on page 284, 4 lines up from the end of the first paragraph, 284. Oh, and please rise in body or spirit. V'hashevota, v'hashevota, el levavecha, ki Adonai, hu Elohim, v'hashevota, v'hashevota, el levavecha, ki shechinah, hi Elohim, v'ne'emar, v'haya Adonai, v'melech kol haaretz, v'yom ha'hu, v'yom ha'hu, yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo, u'shemo, u'shemo echad. Folks can take a seat. We'll move in a moment to say the words of Mourner's Kaddish. We have a tradition in this community to read the names of those that are in Shaloshim, folks that have died in the last 30 days, and people that have died for which it's their yahrzeit, the anniversary of their death. If you hear the name of someone that you knew and love, feel free to wave myself down and I will come find you with a microphone. We'd love to hear just a sentence or two story about your beloved. When we're done, we'll rise together and say the words of Mourner's Kaddish. Today, it'll be particularly challenging to see folks today, so please flail wildly and I'll come get you. Today we're in the Shaloshim for Madry Singer Tobias, mother of Kathy Tobias. And we're waiting upon the burial of Dr. Rabbi David Ellison, father of our beloved intern Rafi Ellison. We're in the yahrzeit of Herbert Kurzer, Mindy Kurzer's father, and Anna and Della Kurzer's Latinx grandfather.
My dad has been gone for over 25 years, but I've been thinking about him a lot lately because he was a radical anti-fascist. And most of his young life, especially, he was dedicated to fighting fascism. And so I think about him a lot these days, and I wonder, in some ways, I'm really glad he's not alive anymore, and other ways, I kind of wonder what his wisdom would be right now.
We're remembering Ida Mae Scott, Lisa Mayer's grandmother, Norman Silver, Dan Kessler's birth father, Malika Henry, Stu Henry's sister, Stella Getson, Billy Wallstrom's cousin.
Stella was my absolutely best relative. No matter what you made for her and cooked, she would say, delicious, especially if it had blue cheese on it. But the one thing I really remember about her is that if you said something was important to you, she would, and you wanted to show it to her, she would take everything and just sweep her hand across the kitchen table. Everything would go on the floor, and she would pay her full attention to whatever it is you brought to her. And she was really a wonderful person that I still miss.
Malachi Henry, Wendy Henry's sister, Louise Weinblatt, Gloria Weinblatt's father-in-law, Robert Solomon Tenon, Denise Tenon's brother, Felix Hirschberg, Sarah Greenfield's great-grandfather.
My great-grandfather Felix was from Poland, and he lived until I was 21, so I got to know him very well. And when my great-grandmother was disappointed that I had shaved my head and said that I looked like something quite horrible, we probably all imagine, my papa said, "Leave her alone, she's beautiful." So, but they were both wonderful, and I'm glad for their memory.
Hans Munzner, Deborah Munzner, Doy's father. Isaac Epstein, Vicky Pizer's father. Alice Berman, Lily Berman's mother. Kathy Turk, Mary Turk's sister. Elizabeth Beth Dvorak, David Dvorak's mother. Lois Joy Miller, Jim L. Miller's mother. Ruth Vinicor, Barbara Schultz's mother. Matthew Pollock, Rachel Pollock's grandfather. Lois Joy Miller, Robin Miller's mother. Alice Berman, Hirsch Berman's mother. Ellie Lipkin, Laura Lipkin's mother. Bill Webster, Sophie Gutterall's grandfather. Esther Dude Zeldis, Hirsch Berman's grandmother. Laura Owen, Deborah Owen's mother.
Laura, Deborah's mother, my mother-in-law, really loved a good celebration. So she died on the 5th night of Hanukkah, and she had a very beautiful sense of how to make a space lovely and special and unique.
Is there anyone else that's remembering a yard site today?
First, I want to mention my grandfather, Fritz Vogel, my mother's dad. And he was born in the part of, well, depending on the week, either Czechoslovakia or Austria. And then he was a traveling salesman in Vienna. And the short version, because we're so crowded, is they weren't able to come to the United States right away during the war, even though they had family here. So he wound up taking my grandmother and my mother to Shanghai, where they lived there in the ghetto for 8 years until they finally came here in 1950. He passed away when I was about 5.5 years old, so I didn't really know him very well. And next time I'll have a happier story. And then I also want to mention one of my inspirations. It's John Lennon.
I want to mention one of my closest friends' wife, Barb Kazmarek, who she passed accidentally 2 weeks ago on a Saturday. And I want to mention her and pray for Buddy, her husband, who, like myself, I lost my wife a couple of years ago and still feel very lost. It's one of the reasons I'm here tonight. And yeah, so I want to mention her too as well. Thank you and congratulations.
I'm thinking about Aaron Milgram died on November 30th after 2.5 years with pancreatic cancer. He was a family friend, and he also knew a number of people in the congregation here, but he was an actor, a singer, a mensch, and later had a career. He was at the head of men's therapy at Domestic Abuse Project for 20 years, and then went into private practice as an LMFT, and just died too young. I always looked up to him as a kind of a surrogate big brother, and we had so much in common. He was into soccer, and later years, he rode every MS ride across Minnesota from 1994 on, and I was riding the Red Ribbon Ride later on, but we supported each other in reaching out. But every person, everyone who knew Aaron had the same view of him, that he was a mensch in every way.
Thank you, Amoja. Ooh, Amoja Three Rivers. There's a bunch of people here who knew her or who were affected by her in this community. And her yard site is on always the 7th night of Hanukkah, which is also Rosh Chodesh Tevet, which is also Hag Habanot, which is a North African Jewish women's holiday to honor women. And so Amoja would be just totally delighted that we honored her at this dedication in this Hanukkah.
We'll rise together for Mourner's Kaddish. You can find it on page 294. Yitkadal v'yikadash shemei rabbah ve'amad divrach yirteh ve'amlich malchuteh v'chayechon u'v'yamechon v'chayeh decho beit Yisrael Agala u'bizman karev v'yimru amen. Yehi shmei rabbah mevarach le'olam omeh omaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei tekucha b'rechu. Ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata amiram ve'alma v'yimru amen. Yesh lama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'imamav hu ya'aseh shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'yimru amen. Folks can be seated. We'll welcome up whichever board member is closest for a quick round of announcements.
While Rabbi Joey is pulling out announcements, I just want to say thank you. This was a marathon, and I'm so filled up. Thank you so much. We have a big weekend ahead.
Thank yous. Introduce yourself briefly. Thank you for being with us tonight. It is such a joy to be together. At the end of the service, please return the prayer books to the usher table where the amazing Della is. Please separate the song sheets from the Sidurim. Mazel tov to Abe Zis on becoming B Mitzvah tomorrow. We were practicing our joy today so that we can really bring it for you tomorrow morning. And welcome to the B Mitzvah students from Or Emet joining us this evening as well. Thank you to all of those who made tonight possible: Rabbi Ariel, Rabbi Joey, MJ Gilbert, Kestrel, Julie, Sam, Riv, Gordon, the Macomb Minion, David Bailey, Julie Jacobs, and Lori Sweet, and Jess. Thank you to our Shomrim for your steady presence. And lastly, thank you to the Kalin and Schlip Rydell families for hosting the Oneg this evening in honor of Abe becoming B Mitzvah. Find all of our Shir Tikva programming updates in our weekly e-news and on our beautiful website, thank you, Reina, including all of our Sukkot events. Nope. Different season. Okay, great. You remember that your community is here to support you, so please let us by reaching out to our rabbis if you encounter a life change so that they can activate the Shir Tikva network of support. We can't do that if you don't let us. and we want to. Lastly, we are looking for able-bodied folks to help with the Shir Tikva Shuffle. Also not happening. Okay, great. Thank you, thank you, thank you. What a beautiful night. Shabbat Shalom.
Wow, that was like 2 truths and a lie announcements. What we really want you to know are the following. Tomorrow, 10:30, Be Mitzvah, 3 o'clock workshop on difficult texts and difficult times. My God, we need this workshop here at 3 o'clock. 4:30, snacks. 5 o'clock, singing and Havdalah. 6 o'clock, intergenerational dance party, which is going to be sweet and not intense, and I really hope you come. Thank you so much for this sweetness. There's so much going on. Please check out our website.
We'll finish up by inviting Jonah up to the bima to present a Kiddush cup to Abe. Zis, Abe, and family, if you could head in the direction of the bima.
Congratulations, Abe, on becoming the mitzvah. You are an amazing classmate. Here's this Kiddush cup from our class in Shir Tikva. Mazel tov. Mazel tov.
Thank you.
So let's lift up the Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava u'b'ratzon hinchilanu zikaron l'maaseh b'reishit כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת, ואותנו קידשת עם כל העמים, בשבת קודשך, באהבה וברצון, הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. L'chaim, you can take a little sip if you want. Beautiful cranberry challah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz
We'll end with song. I'd invite our friends on Zoom to shower the Zoom chat with blessings for our newly official lead rabbi.
Ay, 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 yo. Ay, 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 yo. Ay, 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 I think she wants us to maybe come back in a little bit later and just sit and say.